Today on Judge Faith. He says he installed expensive video surveillance equipment and now he wants to get paid.
He emails me and say, I have a check ready this afternoon. I said, well, why don't you drop it in the mail? So Saturday came, I got nothing. Monday came, I got nothing. Tuesday came, I'm like, no, this guy didn't put nothing in the mail.
So is the check on its way?
What I found out is that there was a discrepancy in the address.
Or will one of these guys give Judge Faith a reason to demand an instant replay?
The old, oh, I put the wrong address on the envelope. No one's really going to believe that. That's as good as my dog ate the homework.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Irvin Evans says he installed telecom and surveillance systems in the defendant's startup company and has not been fully paid. He's suing for the unpaid balance. Defendant John Smith Jr. claims he doesn't owe the money because the plaintiff routinely disconnected his phone system, causing him to lose business.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, we have Evans versus Smith.
Thank you, Barbara. Irvin Evans?
Correct, Your
You
Honor.
were suing the defendant, John Smith Jr., for $5,000 you say he owes you for a telephone and surveillance video system you set up in his company's office?
Correct, Your Honor.
So we'll start with you, Mr. Evans. Tell me what's going on here.
I sell, install, program telephone systems, camera systems, computer networkings for all your office, all the computers to talk to each other and talk to the outside world.
How long have you been in this line of work?
23 years, and I have, for the last 4 years, my own company.
Tell me about your company, sir. What do you do and when did you open this office?
We do private security, and we've been open since February.
Okay, so what happens when you go in?
I told his partner that, yeah, sure, I'll come by and take a look. He says, how much it costs? I told him I couldn't tell him until I get there.
The person that he's talking about is not a partner. He was an employee.
So when you spoke to your employee and he gave you this gentleman's business card, what did he
Correct.
tell you?
He said, give this guy a call. He should be able to help you out. So that's when I reached out to him.
And what did you
asked him.
say?
I talked to him about what it would cost for me to install the equipment, and he said he wanted a camera system as well. To see people coming into the front door, and one to see the receptionist area, and one to see his area, where his office is, and another one for in the waiting area. So it was 4 cameras. So, and he wanted to put an app on his phone where he can view his office when he's away.
Did you sign a contract, put anything in writing?
At the time, no, we didn't do it that way.
Any particular reason?
Well, he was saying I needed to get it going, like, can you just help me out? Like, right now, I need
Well,
to
I understand, but you're the one that is going to do the work and needs to get paid.
That's correct.
So you didn't have a contract?
I didn't have a contract at the time. No, I did not.
What was the agreement?
The agreement that it was called $5,500.
Is that the amount that you agreed to, sir?
It wasn't, well, because the issue is that he told me what the cost was. I said, okay, let's see what we can do. That was my comment. I said, okay, let's see what we can do.
Is that what he said? Let's see what we can do?
No, $5,500 was, and
Did you give him an invoice?
I
Did you
gave
give
him an
any-
invoice.
Before or after?
After.
Why would you do all the work up front without getting a down payment or anything?
Your Honor, this is a minister,
Who is?
Mr. Smith.
Are you a minister,
His
sir?
partner is.
Yes.
Your employee, your partner, is a bishop. I'm going, man of God, that's who these guys are. And I'm a Christian, he's a Christian. Oh, we're going by our words. I mean, you said what you said, then I can do what I do. You're gonna pay me.
And how did that work for you?
Look where we are.
Here we are, Your Honor, in your court.
So you respond and you tell him, we'll see what we can do according to you, but go ahead and start the work.
Yes.
What happens next? Because this story is getting better.
I installed all the equipment, and I wrote the invoice, gave it to him.
Gave it to who?
I gave your employee, your partner.
Okay.
And which in turn gave it to you. And
Did you receive the invoice?
I never received the invoice, to be honest with you.
To this day, you've never received an invoice?
I received the invoice a few months later via email.
But you knew you had the work done.
Yeah, I knew
and the work was
done.
installed,
Yes.
and he needed to be paid.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
And I installed it. I gave him the invoice, and immediately I was supposed to get paid in 2 or 3 days.
How long did it take you to put everything in?
2 days.
So you purchased those cameras and installed them.
Yes, sure
What about
did.
the phone systems? Did you purchase those too?
Sure did.
Okay. You set all of this up. You put the app on his phone. You're done. Your job is done.
My job is done.
Okay.
Yes, fill out the invoice. His partner signed it and says you'll get paid in a couple of days. So 2 weeks went past, and then I'm thinking like, wait a minute. I started inquiring about the invoice. Oh, sure, be a couple of days. No problem, no problem. I got the no problem for another couple of...
Were you speaking to him directly?
Not at all.
No, I wasn't.
Not at all.
Not at that time, because his partner was answering. We was doing
Where's
phone.
your partner today, or your employee today?
No longer with us.
Okay. Why is that?
Oh, Judge, if I have to go through it, we'll be on another court case.
So he was fired?
Yes.
Coming up on Judge Faith. Was Irvin following security protocol, or was John eavesdropped on by Big Brother?
Almost every other week, all my red lights would be flashing because there was no phone system on. But then he would say, hey, I can keep doing this. You will never be able to run your business. You won't be doing anything because I have access.
You cannot just access and look into someone's offices any day, anytime you want to. That's unlawful surveillance.
Plaintiff Irvin Evans says he completed an expensive install of a telecom and surveillance system for the defendant, and now he wants to be fully paid. He's suing for the unpaid balance. Defendant John Smith Jr. claims he doesn't owe the money because the plaintiff has been remotely accessing his security system and interfering with business.
When do you start talking to him?
He asked me to send him the invoice. Send me the invoice.
I asked for the invoice because I had never seen it. So I asked for the invoice. What does this cost? And when I looked at it, I was like, whoa, because I had never seen the invoice.
But you just told me earlier, sir, that he told you it was going to cost $5,500, and your response was...
My response was...
Your response was, let's see what we can do. So why is your response now, whoa, when you get the invoice with the actual amount on it?
Because once again, I was under the impression that it was going to be taken care of. So when I seen the invoice for the first time in August, I was shocked because I didn't realize it was that much.
Well, you knew how much it was. You knew how much it was.
I knew roughly. I didn't know how much was paid. I didn't know how much was already done. That's why I said when I looked at it, it still was like, whoa, it's $5,000 almost or over.
How had the telephone systems and surveillance systems been working for you?
It was working until Mr. Evans started going in and shutting stuff off.
Did you do that?
No, because if I shut it off, how would he?
Wow.
That's not a very convincing no, sir, just so you know.
If I shut it off, if I shut his equipment off, his internet and all that, he can't make any money.
Did you have remote access?
I do have, I sure do.
And did you know that he was going to have remote access?
I didn't know he was going to have remote access because how he sold it to me was the fact that, hey, if there's any troubleshooting need to be done, I'll be able to do it remotely. So,
So
I'm like,
he knew I had remote access.
I understood that, but I didn't know.
Your Honor,
So the remote access was for troubleshooting only?
Only, yes, troubleshooting, because there are adds, moves, changes that needs to be done. I don't have to come over to his office to do that. I can log in and do it right there, right like that.
Yeah.
But you say he took it a step further.
Man, he took it a step further. Almost every other week, coming into the office, all my red lights would be flashing because there was no phone system on. And I would call him like, hey, hey, hey. But then he would say, hey, I can keep doing this. You will never be able to run your business. You won't be doing anything because I have access.
Did you say that, sir?
No, I did not.
Yes.
What did you say? What did you say?
I would always tell him I need my money. Yes, I would call him. Yes, and when I went over to he told me his internet is down. I went over it a couple of times. Once I went over.
You know why it was down? Because he turned it down.
I went over he didn't pay the bill. He never paid Time
So just
Warner.
say you turned it down. So say you turned it off. You did whatever you wanted to do to interrupt the service.
I could have, but I didn't interrupt his service.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Your Honor, right now I got
What?
one office in my office that still ain't up running. I told him on the 25th of September we can start doing installments of $500 a month. He said it would be fine. I didn't get it to him right on the 25th, and again he shut me down.
What happened?
The coming Friday, he emails me and say, I have a check ready this afternoon. Okay. I said, well, why don't you put it in the mail? Just drop it in the mail. So that's Friday. So I should have gotten it the next day. Here in Los Angeles, you mail a letter, the next day you get it. So Saturday came, I got nothing. Monday came, I got nothing. Tuesday came, I'm like, no, this guy didn't put nothing in the mail.
So you didn't mail the check when you said you
We did.
would?
What I found out is that there was a discrepancy in the address.
And so then, after this email you sent on, this is your email on September 18th. You write to him and you say, I have been very open with you concerning our financial position, and you know there is no way I can pay you in full at this time.
Correct.
Please pray and seek God for an answer before you take it to this junction.
Right.
And your response is, God said pay Irvin. You know, God said pay Irvin
God,
with
told me.
thunder and lightning behind it.
I prayed and God said, with thunder and lightning behind it, that just,
All right.
That's what he said?
he said, with that.
right.
And I
And
tell you,
so, because what I see here, I'm going to tell you what I see here. I see in these emails, it looks like you're stringing him along, because on numerous occasions you tell him that you're going to get him this check. This check is in the mail, and it's not coming. It's not arriving. If you say, after not paying for all these months, and you say you put a check in the mail and it doesn't come, the old, oh, I put the wrong address on the envelope, no one's really going to believe that.
well, I
That's
understand
as
that.
good as my dog ate the homework.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
You submitted some evidence you want me to see as well.
I did.
Oh, what is this a photo of?
That is his office that's showing his reception area.
How do you have this photo?
Tapping into my stuff again?
No, Your Honor, when I log into it, I
Logging
can take pictures.
But for what?
I can log into it.
But
I
for
can
what?
call into his.
Why is he taking pictures of what's going on in my office?
How can you see what's going on in his office?
Oh, Your Honor, on my cell phone, when I
He got the
when I
stutter.
set it up, I had to put the app on my phone to make it work correctly. Then I put it on his phone. I know the IP address of all my clients. It's normal.
Do your clients know that you're looking in their offices?
Yes.
Probably not.
At any given, did you know?
No.
No, Your
This
Honor,
is a shock to me.
Why are you taking photos of the
Because
inside
I
of his
need
office?
evidence to show that I installed this equipment.
You have an invoice here.
Yes.
You have the emails, the agreements. But my question is, why do you have access to look inside of their offices?
It comes with the territory.
No, it doesn't.
I have the IP address.
No, it doesn't.
I have the IP address of all my
don't-
clients.
No, let me explain something to you.
Uh-huh.
Because you install is this what you do for all of your clients? You have
Yes.
access and can look into their offices?
I can look in the office. I can log into their
Do
computer
your
network.
clients know that you can look into their
Yes.
offices?
Yes.
But this
he
one
knows
doesn't.
that too.
You know I didn't know.
He do know.
He did know.
Oh, but he do know. Because
I know now.
Let me see the next photo.
If I need to change a name on a telephone, if a new employee comes or don't come in, I can.
What's this photo, sir?
That is the that's one of the cameras that somebody walking in the door.
And you took this photo on September the 16th?
Yes.
So you
Do
can
they
go
know he
in
took that picture?
at any point
Yes.
and look at the people in his office and look in the offices.
I can do that. All my clients, I can do that.
Did you know this?
No.
He do know.
Is there a waiver signed or something?
He
Because I
do
sure
know.
didn't
I put
know
the
that.
app on his phone.
There is a difference between you doing that and you putting the app on your phone for installation and you continuing to have access to look into the offices in his business, sir. You understand that unless you have, because this is almost a spy camera issue, because unless you have consent and the authorization of someone, you cannot just access and look into someone's offices any day, anytime you want to. That's
I understand.
unlawful surveillance.
I understand that, but
I don't think you do.
My license gives me that.
Absolutely not.
Next on Judge Faith.
I work for a security company. We monitors everybody's cameras.
And the same thing with the cameras is the same thing with the phone system.
How do you run a security company and you don't even know you're being spied on by the person who installed video cameras in your office?
Plaintiff Irvin Evans says he installed office equipment for the defendant and has not been fully paid. He's suing for the unpaid balance. Defendant John Smith Jr. claims he doesn't owe the money because the plaintiff shut off his phones and disrupted his business.
Let me tell you something. I want you to think about this. There are a lot of people that have cameras set up in their businesses. There may be some people that say, hey, you're the person, you're going to come in and troubleshoot any problems. But for a lot of people, they would be very uncomfortable with you being able to look into their office while they're working at any time and anywhere, any place you want to from your phone. They have absolutely no privacy because you have unfettered access to their office. I find it hard to believe that people are agreeing to allow you to do that.
Your Honor, I work for a security company. We monitors everybody's cameras. There's everybody's cameras on the walls here that we monitor.
But that's a security company.
People, listen. That is very different from him hiring you to set up cameras that he wants to monitor. He didn't ask you to monitor his cameras.
That's correct, and I'm not monitoring them.
Oh, well, yes, you are.
I
You have
can
the
log
pictures.
into it, but I'm not monitoring. I have the ability to do it.
Sir, this is your evidence.
Of course.
This is your evidence you submitted to the court.
I'm just showing you, Your Honor, that I did install this equipment.
And I'm telling you that's a problem, what you're doing.
Okay.
And the same thing with the cameras is the same thing with the phone system.
Well,
Listen, you're not so innocent in this situation
I don't
either,
claim to be
okay?
innocent.
No,
You're right.
no. And Your Honor, once I used to live in another state back east when it was cold. I had my gas turned off. They didn't care it was cold. What do you mean? I didn't pay the bill. I did not pay the gas
So you admit
company.
to interrupting his service. That's what you're telling me?
What, you want to complain about that?
I'm glad you finally told the truth about that too. How do you run a security company and you don't even know you're being spied on by the person who installed video cameras in your office? So here's what you're going to have to do. Now that you know that he has access to this system, you're obviously not going to be able to use it because you don't want him to have that access, right? So you're going to have to get a new system, something else installed. You can use the cameras, but you're going to have to get it set up in a way so that he does not have remote access. And number two, don't let your employees, he says partner, you say employee, make your business deals. You're the head guy in charge. I need you to be responsible.
Yes.
When it's time to pay the people. You understand?
Yes.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
I don't want you to be out of pocket for the hard dollars here. Money spent on the phones, on the phone system, and on the camera system. And so in fairness, I'm going to order you to pay for the phone system that you have that you can continue to use, $2,400, and the camera system, $1,100, for a total of $3,500. I'm not ordering him to pay you for labor, sir, because I have serious questions about and I'm not saying that you are intentionally trying to do something nefarious, but I have serious questions about your business practices being unethical, if not illegal. Judgment for the plaintiff, $3,500.
If you or someone you know has a dispute, don't take the law into your own hands. Let Judge Faith rule on it for you. To submit your case, go to judgefaith.com and tell us your story. See you in court.